Thank you guys for doing this. I appreciate it. For those of you watching this, we're here in Chogoria, Kenya with Jared and Jenny Brockington and Sophia. And so I just wanted to get in, ask you a couple questions and get your feedback. You've been out here a year, but you were in Malawi a couple of years before you got here. So I kind of wanted to just see what you thought in the way of, what have been your biggest challenges in coming to the mission field? And thought maybe you could share a little bit about that with folks that are either processing to go or going to be going soon.
So I think for me, I think our biggest challenges have definitely been different. I know for me, one of my biggest struggles has been adjusting to the professional aspects of being a younger female doctor in a very traditionally male role in a very paternal culture, and as well being a youth comparatively. So I found, not even so much from my male colleagues, but definitely from the female nursing side a lot. It's been very hard to find a common ground, a good working relationship. I am generally an assertive and vocal and outspoken person, and as a doctor, I'm very much more of that. So I found that when it came to me and most nursing staffs, it was just this rub, constant rub. So learning to just stop talking and to listen and to defer to other people and their opinion and not necessarily express mine out loud. It's every situation. My opinion doesn't matter in every situation. I've learned the very hard way, the very humbling way, that it's about everyone else's opinion that's more important, essentially. I'm a guest in their hospital. I'm a guest in their culture. I'm here to learn, not... I'm here to learn first, more importantly, and then impart knowledge when it's asked. I feel like wait until you're asked is like one of the top things I think we've both learned the hard way professionally, for sure.
Yeah. No, definitely. I think one of the greatest challenges that we face, and I think a lot of people face, especially medical, is just how you're trained, and just how you're trained in a Western culture, you're trained in a Western medical culture, and it's very different from here. I mean, things are much slower, the people are really, relationships are a big thing. And so I think that so we're in Kenya right now, but we were in Malawi for 2 years, and I think, when we went to Malawi, we learned a lot the hard way. We didn't probably listen as much as we should have. We probably kind of tried to take control and take charge more than we probably should have. And
Definitely more than we should have.
Definitely more than we should have. And that led to, things being even harder to be accomplished or to get done in the hospital, because, again, we were seen as people kind of coming in and not listening. And so I think that's what we learned from this time, from coming to Kenya, is that, our main goal, especially the first, 6 months to a year, I would say the first year, is just to listen, to build relationships. And so we've been working on that, Instead of writing protocols, we've been taking people out to lunch. And you can do some of both.
Way more fun.
You can do some of both, but I think building relationships and listening to the nurses, listening to your Kenyan colleagues, because they can teach you a lot, and so they taught us a lot, and so I think when you go there, after you've been there for a year, 2 years, you can start to make a little bit more change, and you develop the relationships and trust, and so I think that will help in the long run. And so
And I think the more you know about the community and the culture,
yeah.
the more you realize what you wanted to change likely doesn't need to change.
Yeah.
Like, there's a reason for why things are the way they are, and they might not be the way we want them to be, but,
Yeah.
you know, if you want them to be the way you want it to be, stay in America.
Yeah.
Keep working in a U.S. hospital, and
Yeah.
don't come to Africa.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm a little
blunt.
And you just have to realize that things don't change quickly, and that's okay. You know, like, it's okay for things not to change quickly, and I think that's harder for us in the medical community because it affects patients' lives, and we know there maybe can be a better way, or there can be a different way of doing it, which may result in better outcomes. But again, you just have to sit back and listen, and because in the long run, it'll be better if you listen before you act. So yeah, I think we learned a lot. So
I think those are some great insights. You know, I think we can say that in theory, and it's easy to verbalize. It's really hard to put into practice.
Oh, yeah.
yeah,
You know,
it is.
When I say it was a painful first couple years, it was,
Yeah.
if you, it's a lot of prayer about God softening your heart and removing your pride, and it's not
Yeah.
easy.
let me ask you this: how about personally? What have been your big personal challenges transitioning cross-culturally?
So we timed things, or we didn't time things in a very easy way. God timed things. So our daughter, we got pregnant right before we left for Malawi. So I was pregnant for the first 6 months. We came back to the U.S. and had her, and then brought her back when she was an infant. So she spent more of her lifetime in Kenya or in Africa than she has in America. That can be hard. Being a parent is hard, and then being a parent in another culture is hard. For me, more than just those sort of personal family challenges of, taking a newborn into the mission field, I have bipolar disorder, and I've had it for years, and I'm very well medicated, and I have a great psychiatrist in the U.S., and I have an amazing support team of friends and family, and I think for us, our personal care plan and our family care plan has just been pivotal. Making sure that we always have to consider, what ifs, and making sure that I'm taking care of my, my mental health, and all the aspects of that, and keeping insight and keeping an open communication with one another. It's, it's like if you had, diabetes, and there's certain things you have to do to keep yourself healthy, or you will get sicker. And we've been very blessed to be able to handle that. And I have good days and I have bad days, but with an excellent spouse and a great support back in the U.S. and you and Candy, it's been okay. Like I said, not every day is great, but I think it's been encouraging that having bipolar isn't keeping me home. Yeah, it's okay. Okay, hold on. Hold on. And you can go back inside and watch. But I feel like we're winning in that respect. Like, I'm staying healthy, and we're staying healthy as a family, and our daughter is growing up healthy, and even though I've got this, which can be a crippling, disease, we're still able to be out here by the grace of God. So,
Awesome.
yeah.
Yeah, and Jenny mentioned the care plan. I think that's really important, and it's important to stick to it, and it's important to be intentional about it. Like, because if you're not intentional about it, then pretty soon, things will just be really overwhelming, and I think it's really important to find time to separate yourselves from the hospital, from where you're working. I think that I've seen that, like, so even in Malawi, we probably didn't do that quite as well as we should have in the beginning, but you learn it's important to separate yourself, to have time with the community, to have time outside of the hospital, to have time with your family. And so you have to be intentional, though, because it'll sneak up, and there's always patients. There's always patients that are going to be sick, and always patients that are going to be at the hospital, and there's always going to be patients that are going to die, whether you're there or not. And so it's just finding a healthy balance.
So I'm glad you found that tool in orientation helpful. I don't know how much of that you had done, planning you had done that way before. But I think
No.
That was a new concept.
Yes.
So we hadn't had that. So.
Actually putting it on paper and talking through it, and especially a time where we talked through it and reflected on it with you and Candy, was it's important, and it's something that we've been able to, in really bad situations where you've had patients die that day and you're emotionally drained and you're just feel like going home, which happens to everyone sometimes on a weekly basis. It's okay. It's normal, but being able to be accountable to one another and say, what aren't you doing? Like, what can you be doing? What can we be doing differently? What are we missing that we've forgotten about? So it's good tool.
So we talked about some of the challenges, but what have been your biggest blessings since you've been missionary doctors here in Africa?
I think for me it's been teaching. It's been teaching, like, whether it was in Malawi, we taught a lot with the clinical officers, so there wasn't necessarily a teaching program set up like there is here in Kenya as far as teaching interns and family medicine residents, but I think teaching and then seeing them, that they're so eager to learn, and because just there's such a need for education, medical education, and so they love to learn, and it's not like a nuisance or anything like that. They love it because they know their patients are going to do better, and they know that the community is going to benefit from that. And so I think whenever you're able to teach, and then you see 3-4 months later they're doing it by themselves, or they're doing it with a group, or even teaching, and so now they're teaching others how to do it. I mean, that's been a blessing, because that means that that knowledge is going to go to other people. So yeah.
I think for me, I love the teaching part. I love getting to know the learners on a more personal level as well. We have a team of interns here. They're government-assigned interns from the National Medical School. So they've graduated, but they're doing their year of, after you finish, we're going to let you out into the wild. You're going to be a medical officer at a facility somewhere. So this is like their year to get the knowledge and get it under their belt. And I love the fact that this community here has tried to take them in and nurture them. Socially, as well as spiritually, as well as educationally in the hospital. So getting to know them, getting to learn about their lives, about their families, about why they're in medicine, what they want to do after, having them realize that we care, and we care about their education, we care about them becoming good doctors, because they are the future of this medical system. And I think having them take on that sort of responsibility and feel security in that, and that through prayer and through just faith in the Lord, that it's a bit easier because they're not all Christian providers, but there's this wonderful opportunity just for witnessing, for sharing our faith with them, and why we would leave America and come live in Kenya. which is hard for the 20-somethings of Kenya to really grasp.